Welcome back once again to Break, Battle, and Roll. I am your Dungeon Master and Barkeep, Aaron Rollins. Coming up is the last of our three-part Episode 0. It is with great honor to introduce to you a paladin somewhat coy, but eager to be the goodest boy, the Dogfolk Shield Bearer, a soul you would not find rarer.
Howdy, I'm Dustin Bleshmet, and I'm going to be playing the role of Sherman Gepherd, the Dogfolk Paladin.
And without further ado, it's time to break, battle, and roll. Don't raise your shield too early, Sherman. Your enemy isn't going to strike it if they can help it. Sherman, it's a dream come true. Indeed, you've had little control over your tail the last couple days. You received your first assignment since transitioning from the F.O.S.T.E.R program, and they've placed you under the watch of Sitter Sadie, Knight of Pal. She's asked you to join her for training, though you find there's little space to maneuver on the Pal schooner, the Brindled Ballast. Sadie sheathes her sword after the training session's over, and she motions for you to sit with her.
I do so immediately.
Good work, Sherman.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad I did a good job. Thank you so much.
She kind of pats you on the back.
Oh, that's great.
We'll continue to hone your skills, but I see a lot of potential in your sword work. Whew, you came from F.O.S.T.E.R, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's definitely right there, ma'am.
Oh, what a great group. What a great group. What is it now? Fight on...
It stands for Fight On, so to experience redemption.
Ah, that's what it is. I love that. That is such a noble venture they have going on.
It's a bit of a mouthful, so we just say Foster.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. See, I'm not, or I wasn't a member of it myself, but I do have a great respect for their cause. You know, they've done really good things for us dogfolk, and the like. They take more than dogfolk, right?
So, PAL certainly does take more than dogfolk, but I believe the F.O.S.T.E.R program was a new venture that specifically I don't want to use the word targeted, that doesn't sound nice, but they looked for people of our persuasion that were in need of a fresh start, if you will.
Right. Yes, I think that's the explanation I got when I went to work for them, or at least, work in conjunction with them. PAL definitely has a good relationship with F.O.S.T.E.R, so I'm glad you're here. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for, a fresh recruit right out into their first assignment. Now, speaking of which, where did I put it? She pulls out orders that are from PAL. It's got the PAL emblem on it and everything, and she goes, all right, well, in case they didn't give you a good explanation of it before you joined me here on the schooner, let's see here. The mission, investigate reports of unusual activity on the island of Adristia. Oh, I know Adristia. Yeah, that place is, well, my aunt likes to go there for a summer retreat, but, I wonder what's going on there. It says here, strange happenings have been keeping people away. Sounds and sightings. What do you think that means? Oh, some have called it haunted. Haunted. Oh, ridiculous. Oh well. Oh look, they even emblazoned the PAL logo down here. PAL stands by you, ready to protect Archipeldian Liberties. Great. Well, I think our job's gonna be pretty easy, Sherman.
You think that if I do good on this assignment, that they'll give me my first... He stares off into the distance for a second and just looks at...
You might get a treat out of this, Sherman.
There was a jar on the counter. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit distracted by by that over there. I know we've been working on that, but I apologize. I apologize for that. I should be paying more attention. I'm just so excited to be on my first rover assignment.
I totally understand. And stick with me. This is going to be a piece of cake. We'll get back, and we'll both get a treat. How about that?
Oh, that sounds so nice. We never got any treats back when, before F.O.S.T.E.R, there were no treats for me, I'll tell you that.
I suspect we're going to be arriving sometime in the early morning, so maybe return to your cabin and get some rest.
Yes, ma'am.
She then salutes you and says, "Be good, pal. Be good," with the formal farewell. So you go back to your quarters here on the brindled ballast, and you feel quite sore after the drills with Sadie. You're about to start pulling off your chainmail in preparation to circle up for a lie down. But you look down and there's that small little chest full of your possessions that you carry around with you. You don't have much. Never have had much. And the lid hangs open right now because, or a little bit earlier you had to pull your brush out, get those knots out of the fur.
Oh yeah, there's fur everywhere in here, actually. It just gets everywhere.
On top of the chest lies your old artificer, which was a snapshot in time that artificers of Archipeldia invented years ago. This one was taken with your two other F.O.S.T.E.R best friends just last year at the Titania's Harvest Festival. And the memory dances around in your head like it has so many times before, just about every time you look at this picture.
Oh yeah.
Bringing you joy and appreciation for how far you've come. How far you've come. It's been a long time. And each of you went your separate ways. One went to the apostleship. One was conscripted to the Titans of Titanios, and, well, of course, there was you. You joined PAL. Who are those in the picture, Sherman?
Well, Bernice was always the one who was a little bit more endearing to everyone around her, and she ended up getting approached to apprentice into the apostleship. I feel like it's a good fit for her. Now, Dober, on the other hand, a little bit of a, I like to say that you should have a stick in your mouth, but sometimes he liked to, have a stick somewhere else that I don't want to talk about. But Dober was a perfect fit for something like the Titans. I just wish that they let him have a little more fun in life, because he always needed to loosen up just a little bit. Maybe one day.
What were the memories of that night at the Harvest Festival?
Oh, so, they had actually pulled Bernice and I, and Dover out of the same, let's call it a rehabilitation center, just because I feel like that's a little bit of a nicer way of putting it. Pal had advocated for all of us to go into the F.O.S.T.E.R program at that point in time, as a way of reducing our, I guess the word is sentence. But we definitely had a shorter time there at the rehabilitation center because of the F.O.S.T.E.R program. And so when we got to the Harvest Festival at that point, we were celebrating, I think it was the end of our second semester studying as part of that program, and we were just looking to blow off a little steam, except for Dober, of course, who had been nose to the grindstone the whole time, and just he went to appease us, of course, because he was our friend, but going out and going to parties and having a grand old time, that really wasn't his thing. He was more of a nose to the books, a nose to the training kind of a guy. Now, Bernice, of course, her and I, we we like to have a little fun. So you could definitely tell in this picture, just looking at it right now, that there's definitely a different kind of light in her eyes than Dober's.
And for sure, Dober's barely even paying attention to whoever's taking the artificer, seeming a little bit more distracted than you and Bernice. You set the picture down, once again, smiling as usual as you look it over. And an explosion sounds through the walls of the ship.
What?
You hear crew running around. And moments later, your door opens up, and it's Sadie. Sherman, let's go. And she's gone.
Yes, I immediately rush out behind her.
The two of you run onto the deck of the brindled ballast, and everything's on fire.
Oh.
You look around, and the crew is desperately trying to put it out, but it's spreading fast. And the ship creens, and you hear the wood creak as something moves the boat that's not the wind. And your footing is almost lost, but you stabilize, and you look to Sadie, and she's looking around for some kind of bucket or something that she can do to help. But the crew is barely holding it together, and that's when you see it in the darkness. A massive tentacle rises out of the sea, about half the size of the ship itself, and it crashes down, sending waves again, the ballast rocking and everyone holding their balance, and a jet of black liquid flings out of the water, hits the deck of the ship, and ignites even more as it's some kind of flammable substance, creating even more flames on the deck of the ship. Everyone's screaming, and you can see this thing moving in and out around the ship, waves, higher than they should be in this very calm fog. And Sadie looks to you. We have to do something. We have to do something, Sherman. And she draws her sword out.
I draw mine, and I say, just make sure you stay on my left. I'll get your right. You get my left.
Watch out, Sherman. Watch out. There's fire everywhere. And you see her dancing around the deck of the ship. She's trying to stay out of the pockets of flame. You see that more of this black spray is starting to hit the ship. More of it's catching fire. Somehow, this creature is spraying a flammable liquid all over the ship, and it's just like it's unstoppable. She swings at the tentacle as it swipes, as it comes across the ship, looking to try to bring the ship down into the water. And you see her get a good cut on it. Sherman, get over here! Roll a acrobatics check.
Oh no. That's a 12.
So you're able to get by without falling down. You get over to the monster, and she's having, a difficult time just trying to keep her footing as she's swinging at this thing. The tentacle from this giant creature, this giant monster underneath the level of the ocean, has now wrapped one of its arms around the bow of the ship, and the bow of the ship is now starting to careen down. The back of the ship's coming out of the water. What do you do?
I am going to swing my sword down on the tentacle in hopes of maybe distracting it long enough that it loosens the grip on the ship. And if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna grab Sadie and say that we gotta get as many people off of this ship as we can before it goes down.
Give me an attack roll.
Attack roll. That's a 23.
Holy shit. You stab this tentacle, like you just bring the entire blade into it, and it definitely reacts to your attack. Go ahead and roll damage for me.
All right. That is gonna be 13 damage.
Sherman, you stab this thing, and it reacts by removing its tentacle from the front of the ship. it does it very quickly, but you're also going with it up into the air while you're holding your sword as you're trying to pull the blade from the tentacle itself. The whole back of the ship comes crashing back down in the water. You see Sadie get flung from the bow of the ship back, and she hits the ground, she rolls, she just barely dodges a pocket of fire. You're kind of hanging up in the air, and then you see a second tentacle come up, and it comes crashing down, hits the central mast of the ballast, and smashes it into the front of the ship, and you watch as the brindle ballast cuts completely into two pieces. The mast leans further, and it actually strikes you while you're up in the air, holding on to your sword, trying to pull it out, but knowing that if you remove yourself from this tentacle, you're gonna fall. You're not sure how much of ship you're gonna land on at this point. But it doesn't matter, because you become free. You fall. Your sword's still in hand. And all you see as you are approaching the water is that mast, the crashed mast floating in the water there. And you hear Sadie's voice in the background. Sherman, no! Black. And that's where we end Sherman's episode. What will become of our brave boy Sherman? Will he still be able to complete his first mission for PAL? Stay tuned for the answers to these questions as Sherman's quest continues in Episode 1. And with Episode 0's conclusion, we thank you again for listening and hope that you will join us for our first full-length episode in the next Break, Battle, and Roll.